Hello students, this is class 10th, subject English, chapter 5, The 100 Dresses 1, and this is my lecture number 1. Topics to be covered today. First of all, we shall discuss the introduction of the author, then introduction of the chapter. After that, there will be the introduction of main characters, then chapter highlights. After that, we shall discuss homework solution of lecture 1 of footprints without feet. So let us begin with the introduction of the author of chapter 5, The 100 Dresses 1. Now let us begin with the introduction of the author. Albizour Esther is a renowned author. She was born on May 9th, 1906. She is known for her children's story. The 100 Dresses is one of her famous writing. She hailed from the US and was born in West Haven. Some of her famous work include Ginger Pyrrhe, the Moffat's series, the Echoing Green, the LA, and many others. She was awarded the Newbery Medal for her writing, the Ginger Pyrrhe. She died when she was 82 years old. So she was awarded many times, but the most prestigious award was John Newbery Medal for Ginger Pyrrhe. Now the chapter's introduction. The 100 Dresses Part 1. Actually this chapter has two parts. In 5th chapter it is given the 100 Dresses 1 and in 6th chapter the 100 Dresses 2. So now today we have started first part, the 100 Dresses Part 1. The lesson the 100 Dresses 1 is about a girl named Wenda who claims to have 100 dresses. Her classmates made fun of her because what she claims is in contradiction to the fact that she was always seen wearing the same dress. Her classmates found her name to be funny. It was because everyone had easier names than Wenda Petronsky. Her name was different. Actually, the whole story revolves around the main character, Wenda Petronsky. She was a girl who comes from the poor social background. So she comes from the remote area of the town. So she is the one only student in her class with a funny Polish name because she came from Poland. That's why she was called Polish girl. And her name was very funny according to those children. So they used to make fun of Wenda Petronsky. So her name was different because she was a Polish immigrant who had come to an American town with her family. She was poor and did not have many friends. She was quiet and was always seen sitting in the corner of the classroom. The truth about the 100 dresses unveiled when she submitted her 100 drawings in a drawing contest. They were the same 100 dresses she used to talk about. All of them were immensely beautiful. Wenda Petronsky was treated very badly because she was a Polish immigrant. So other American students used to make fun of her because of her funny name and she belonged to a poor family. Now we have read the introduction of the chapter. Now let us discuss the main characters of this chapter. About the characters. So the main character of this chapter is Wenda Petronsky. Wenda Petronsky was a Polish girl. She was a poor Polish girl with a funny name who wears the same blue dress always and boasts of having 100 dresses. Actually, she was a poor girl who lived at Boggins Height. Boggins Height is a place where poor people live. She didn't like to talk to anyone. She was very shy and quiet. She wore the same faded blue dress which was not ironed properly. All other students teased her in the classroom. She showed her determination in the drawing competition by showcasing her 100 designs of dresses. She also won the girls' medal in the drawing competition. Next character is Peggy. Peggy always teases Venda, creates a game to ask Venda about dresses different from others, never made Venda cry by teasing the most popular and pretty girl in the school. Next is Maddie. She was very close friend of Peggy. She was a poor girl but never boasts like Venda that she had 100 dresses. She was not really a cruel girl but lacked courage. Next is Miss Mason, Venda's class teacher who helps the students and supports them. So these are the main characters of this chapter. Now let us move to chapter highlights. It was Monday. Venda was absent, but nobody noticed. So the chapter begins with a day that was Monday, and Venda was not sitting on her seat. Actually, Venda Petronsky usually sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room number 13. Venda, a quiet girl, didn't talk with others too much. She lived at Boggins Heights and belonged to a poor family. Venda was very quiet and peaceful. She rarely said anything at all. On Monday, Venda didn't come in school, but nobody noticed her absence. She had only one blue dress and she wore the same dress every day. Peggy and Maddie were good friends and teased Venda every day. Peggy was the most popular girl in school. She was attractive in look and she had several pretty dresses. Venda Petronsky's name was very funny. So Venda didn't have any friends. She had no friends and girls used to make fun of her. Vanda claimed of having 100 dresses and 60 pairs of shoes. Actually, one day Peggy asked Vanda how many dresses did she have in her closet. When Vanda told that she had 100 dresses, all the girls exclaimed. And she also told that she had 60 pairs of shoes. Peggy was not really a cruel girl. She loved children and animals also. Peggy always protected small children from bullies. Peggy would say why Vanda had spoken of her 100 dresses. Because everybody knew that Vanda Petronsky had only one dress. Maddie, herself a poor girl, didn't like to tease Vanda but remained mum for fear of being ridiculed in Vanda's place. She did not like to tease Vanda, but she always remained quiet because she did not want to be the next target of those girls. So once there was a drawing competition for every boy and girl in the class. Everybody expected Peggy to win. So one day Miss Mason announced about the annual drawing contest in which the girls would draw dresses and the boys will draw motor boats. So everyone expected that Peggy would win. So a boy and a girl will be chosen as winners of the contest. When it was time to turn in the drawings, the children were amazed to find that Venda had turned in 100 drawings. There were 100 sketches of dresses beautifully drawn by Venda in the classroom. So all the students got amazed to see those beautiful dresses designed by Venda Petronsky. Miss Mason announced the winner. Jack Bagels won among the boys and Venda among the girls. Venda had drawn 100 beautiful dresses. Venda was absent, but everybody clapped for her. Peggy and Maddie identified the blue and the green dress once spoken by Venda. Everybody in the class clapped for Venda's great quality of drawing. So Venda proves her talent by designing 100 dresses. Maddie and her friends later know that Venda is a very talented artist. Her drawing of 100 beautiful dresses has won the school's art contest. The girls realize that they misjudged Venda. They feel guilty for this act. So this is all about the 100 dresses 1. So in this chapter we have read the experiences of the author about a girl, Venda Petronsky, who comes from the poor background. She comes from the remote area of the town. She is the only student in her class with a funny polished name. She is very quiet. She always wears the faded blue dress and goes to school every day. Only she was absent for a few days. And later on, everyone came to know that she was a good artist. Now let us talk about your homework. You are supposed to read the chapter and find out the answers of following questions. Question number 1. Where in the classroom does Venda sit and why? Question number 2. Where does Venda live and what kind of a place do you think it is? Question number 3. When and why do Peggy and Maddie notice Venda's absence? And question number 4 is, what do you think to have fun with her means? So you all are supposed to find out the answers and write in your practice notebook. This is class 10th, subject English, lecture 1, chapter Footprints Without Feet, homework solution. So let us discuss the homework solution of given questions. Question number 1. How did the invisible man first become visible? So here this invisible man is Griffin, who was a brilliant scientist, but he was a lawless person. So first of all, the invisible man became visible when he accidentally stepped into some mud and his footprints started becoming visible to two boys who followed him until his footprints fainted and became invisible again. He got rid of them and spent a night at a large London store where he wore some clothes and slept on a pile of quilts. The next morning, when he was still sleeping, the store assistants started coming in and saw him, which was actually the first time he was seen. Now question number 2. Why was he wandering the streets? Once again, this he is referring Griffin, a scientist. So answer is Griffin had burned down the house of his landlord who had tried to throw him out of the house. He was a lawless person, and to save himself from being caught, he removed all his clothes so that he could not be seen, and thus became a homeless wanderer. He did not have any money or clothing left with him. So he burnt the house of his landlord because his landlord disliked him and tried to get rid of him. So in revenge, he set fire to the house and he had to remove his clothes to get away without being seen. So that's why he had become a homeless wanderer without clothes and without money. Question number third. Why does Mrs. Hall find the scientist eccentric? Griffin arrived at an inn in Iping village during winter season, which itself was an uncommon thing to happen. He also had a weird appearance, a strange appearance. Mrs. Hall even tried to be friendly with him, but he did not want to talk with anyone. So that's why he was considered eccentric. Eccentric means a person with an unusual or odd personality. He was rude to her and told her that he didn't want to be disturbed, and the reason for his visit to the village of Iping was solitude. Means he did not want to be disturbed, he wanted to live alone. These were some of the reasons due to which Mrs. Hall considered him to be an eccentric scientist. Means the arrival of a stranger at an inn in winter season was in itself a strange occurrence. In addition, the stranger had an uncommon appearance. In spite of Mrs. Hall's attempt to be friendly, he would respond in a cold manner. So he told her that he had no desire to talk and that all he wanted was solitude. So he did not wish to be disturbed in his work. So for all these reasons, she regarded him as an eccentric scientist. Question number 4. What curious episode occurs in the study? Answer is the clergyman and his wife were awakened early one morning by noises in their study room. When the clergyman went to the study with a metal rod and looked around, he couldn't find anyone. Means a clergyman and his wife were awakened once very early in the morning. They heard noises coming from the study. So they crept downstairs and heard even the chink of money being taken from the desk. But they got surprised when they found the room empty. He even looked under the desk. Means clergyman even looked under the desk, behind the curtain and up the chimney, but no one was seen. The strangest part was that even though nobody was there, the desk was opened and money was missing from the drawer. This was very strange for clergyman. Question number 5. What other extraordinary things happen at the inn? The landlord of the inn and his wife were surprised to see the doors of Griffin's room open. One day they found that Griffin's room was opened. So they looked inside and found that nobody was inside the room and decided to investigate. They found it strange that his room's door was open, as he never liked anyone even trying to enter his room. All of a sudden, While investigating, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff next to her ear, means sound of breathing. She heard and was hit by Griffin's hat on the face. Then the chair in the room charged towards Mrs. Hall and hit her in her legs. As they both turned in terror, the chair pushed both of them out of the room, and the door was slammed, and suddenly a locking sound was heard. So the bedroom chair became alive and charged straight at her. As she and her husband turned away in terror, the chair pushed them out of the room and the door was closed. Mrs. Hall was scared and felt that the furniture was haunted by spirits and it was the stranger's work, means there was the hand of Griffin. The nearby people started talking that the work was that of a witchcraft. Question 6th. Griffin was rather a lawless person. Comment, or this question can be asked in other manner. How can you say that Griffin was a lawless person? So Griffin was rather a lawless person. His landlord disliked him and tried to get rid of him. So in revenge, he set fire to the house and ran away. He set fire to a house which did not belong to him. He took away clothes from the store without paying for them. He hit a shopkeeper and stole his money. He stole money from the clergyman's house also. He also struck Mr. Jaffers, the constable, on duty. Means Griffin was a lawless person. He had no money, therefore he stole and robbed people after becoming invisible. When he went to the London store, he gave himself the pleasure of clothing. He fed himself regardless of expenses. Later, he went to a suitable shop in the theatre world and came out wearing bandages around his forehead, dark glasses, false nose, big bushy side whiskers and a large hat. Then he was visible. To escape without being seen, he attacked the shopkeeper from behind and robbed him all of the money he could find. And he even attacked the innkeeper, means Mr. and Mrs. Hall, when they tried to sneak into his room. Later, when the police came to arrest him, he threw off his clothes, thereby becoming invisible and running away. It means he was a lawless person. Question number 7. How would you assess Griffin as a scientist? So Griffin was a scientist because he became invisible due to his inventions. After repeated experiments, Griffin had discovered how to make the human body transparent. This was a big achievement, but he was not a real scientist. It was because he misused his inventions. A true scientist uses his inventions for the benefits of humanity. He never causes trouble to the people because of these. Thus, though he can be termed as a brilliant scientist, he was not a noble one. So, this was homework solution of lecture 1 of chapter 5th, Footprints Without Feet. So, I hope you all have understood. So, you all are supposed to write the question answers in your fair notebook and send me the snapshots on my ID. Thank you. If you like our videos, please press like button and subscribe our channel.